Meghan Markle, meet the truth. Truth, meet Meghan Markle. I don't think you know each other. In fact, I fear that you're complete strangers. Yep.
Meghan has done is told Harry sort of a fabrication of her childhood and her early life. And that was part of the reason why she wasn't interested in Harry actually meeting.
Is at it again, playing the victim card, lashing out at all those horrible lies that all those nasty people.
Duchess, who built her entire brand on being real, is now being pulled into a wild grandmother rumour storm, and this time the heat isn't coming from the palace. It's tied to her past and an ex who knows where the bodies are buried.
The wedding was already, being planned by the time they were trying to arrange, let's say, a meeting right before the wedding. I think Meghan definitely did not want her father there to mess up the narrative that she had.
For years, Meghan Markle has carefully sculpted her public image into something that feels less like real life and more like a Hollywood screenplay. A California girl turned actress turned royal duchess.
She fires her publicity team. 6 battle-weary minions who, in Meghan's mind, failed to convince the world of the wonderfulness of their stunning...
She went from a briefcase model on Deal or No Deal straight into Buckingham Palace headlines. It was glossy, inspiring, and perfectly framed. But behind the filtered smiles and curated soundbites sits a rumour so explosive it refuses to disappear quietly.
Definitely infer her mom was completely willing to go along with the narrative, and that's why she was there.
Yeah, very good point. Then,
This is the story people can't stop whispering about. According to long-running speculation, Meghan may not only be a mother, but could already be a grandmother by her mid-40s.
Forget the fairy tale narrative.
All that horrible stuff those pesky reporters wrote about her was purely the fault.
That claim alone sends shockwaves through palace circles, Hollywood
Meghan,
insiders,
Joe,
and
and
Meghan's
two family
tightly guarded
witnesses in a
brand,
cheap...
because nothing cracks a carefully built image faster than a secret family tree hiding in the shadows.
a child herself. Watch this.
I ask you, do you believe it's true?
I do believe now.
Forget the fairy tale version of Meghan as a Northwestern student finding herself before fame. Critics argue the real story may trace back to the neon glow of Las Vegas. Long before royal titles and Oprah sit-downs, Meghan was allegedly standing in front of an Elvis impersonator, quietly saying, "I do," far from cameras and red carpets.
Relations Department. Yeah, right. That hapless husband of hers, old Ginger Nuts, what's his name? Oh, that's right, Harry, is also said to be far from...
The alleged groom was Joe Giuliano, not a Hollywood A-lister, not a royal, just an ordinary young man. This supposed marriage looked nothing like the lavish Windsor spectacle. No designer gown, no global coverage, no glossy photos. Just Meghan, Joe, and 2 family witnesses inside a budget chapel tucked off the strip.
And that Trevor is, and reportedly Trevor said that she couldn't give him children. And this is according to my brother. I didn't get this from Trevor. And
what started as a teenage romance reportedly didn't last long because Vegas love stories rarely do.
Spewing ludicrous conspiracy theories, journalists are going to go, "Isn't Harry great? Let's be very positive about him." Both of this preposterous pair of posers.
The relationship allegedly ended not with a dramatic divorce, but through a sealed annulment. Nevada's annulment laws are famously discreet. You file the paperwork, pay the fee, and the record disappears like it never existed.
Months now, definitely weeks, that the story about these two going forward will be financial.
Well, it's really true, and what's very interesting...
Jackpot. For Meghan, that meant a clean slate on paper. Officially, she had never been married. No trace, no archive, no public record. But that spotless reset raises a glaring question. Why seal the file at all if there was nothing uncomfortable inside it?
I mean, in the same interview, she goes, "I didn't really get any opportunities as a mixed-race actress, blah, blah, blah." And then,
no one knew she was mixed-race, did they?
20 minutes later.
People don't erase history unless there's something they're desperate to keep hidden. That's why this Vegas chapter isn't just gossip to critics. It's seen as the first red flag in a timeline that's been carefully polished ever since.
down. I mean, this is a business podcast. Do you think that's relatable to the average person bootstrapping their first company? Turn everything down. What's wrong with you, Meghan?
This is the thing about when she plays the race card. When she came to Britain,
According to Meghan's official biography, she took a gap year before attending Northwestern University. The story says she travelled, explored the world and discovered herself.
They started saying, oh, everyone was against me because they're racists. And when she first started saying that, she said,
it's wholesome, inspiring and tailor-made for glossy PR. But there's a problem. There's no proof, no photos, no travel records, no classmates or programme leaders who remember her abroad. There isn't even a single snapshot placing Meghan in Europe or Asia during that so-called year of discovery. Instead, there's silence, a blank page in an otherwise tightly documented life.
Behind the hands that were shielding the belly. So if anybody had made a move to touch the belly, they would never have reached it.
Meanwhile, the Giuliano family has quietly suggested a completely different version of events. According to them, Meghan wasn't hopping across continents at all. She was in Chicago, living quietly under the Giuliano roof. No cameras, no journals, no study abroad stories. Just a young woman keeping an unusually low profile.
The race card. When she came to Britain and started going out with Harry, subsequently they started saying, oh, everyone was against me because they're racists. And when she first started saying that, she said, I'm a racist. But we're all going, but you're white.
Yeah, and she self-identified.
And this is where things start to look suspicious. Why invent a glamorous travel narrative if the truth was simply staying put, unless something far more life-altering was happening behind closed doors? That's when the whispers grow louder. Critics claim this wasn't just a gap year, it was a pivotal year.
Out with Harry. Subsequently they started saying, oh, everyone was against me because they're racists. And when she first started saying that, she said,
one Meghan allegedly buried before re-emerging with a spotless identity at Northwestern. For anyone else, that theory would sound outrageous. But for Meghan Markle, the missing year feels less like coincidence and more like a smoking gun to those dissecting her past.
But we're all going, but you're white.
Yeah, and she self-identified.
Like Gary Lineker, the older.
We know she knows she.
This is the part of her rumoured history that refuses to fade. According to ongoing speculation, Meghan didn't just hide a marriage. She allegedly gave birth privately, with no announcements, no photos, and no public acknowledgement. No baby showers, no proud partner, no family album moments. Just silence.
We know she's mixed. Like a lot of mixed race people, she looks very, very white. A lot of mixed people look very, very black. So when she goes, oh, I'm the victim of race.
The Giuliano family is rumoured to have stepped in, raising the child privately while presenting her as their own to the outside world.
Back in those days when they didn't know who she was, they had no idea she was a woman of colour.
Also, she's talking to another woman of colour who I'm pretty sure emigrated.
Behind closed doors, relatives allegedly knew the truth, and one chilling line has followed the story for years. She was Meghan's before she was ours.
Has faced much more adversity than her.
She didn't like
just
that.
Tone deaf to a T. No, she didn't.
I mean, that Emma Grede said, sometimes I wake up and I'm feeling a bit ghetto. She was just saying it. And Meghan didn't like it.
The rumoured child, often referred to as Noel in online discussions, is said to have grown up believing she was simply a Giuliano, unaware of any deeper backstory.
She didn't like that she could up and was properly.
I agree with you. You got the impression that Emma Grede, who is clearly a no-nonsense woman who knows what she's talking about.
While Meghan reportedly moved forward as if that chapter never existed. By the time Meghan arrived at Northwestern...
podcast to be entertaining. Yeah. But you could see Emma Grede is going, who is this idiot?
Yeah.
She has no idea what...
She appeared as a fresh-faced student with no visible ties to the past. No calls, no visits, no overlap, just a clean break, like hitting reset on her life. It's a shocking possibility.
Agreed, you could tell, absolutely knew that she had no business sense whatsoever. Anyway, she did only recently complete her most recent effort at a podcast.
But one critic say explains the missing year, the sealed Vegas annulment, and the urgency behind rewriting her personal history. If Noel truly exists, then Meghan's life story isn't just incomplete. It's a carefully edited version of reality.
Or an interview, so I haven't seen that yet. I do believe because.
Then there's Trevor Engelson, Meghan's Hollywood ex-husband, the man who shared her ambitions, her private world, and her secrets, and the same man she allegedly ended things with by mailing back her engagement ring instead of facing him directly. For years, Trevor has stayed silent, refusing to publicly fuel Meghan's controversies. But silence doesn't equal ignorance.
In utero and being born, I heard stories that royal staffers were not allowed to see or touch her abdomen.
Insiders claim Trevor knew more than most about her edited past and allegedly told friends her timeline wasn't just polished. It was rewritten. Trevor is a Hollywood producer, not a fool. He understood reinvention.
The idea that a royal physician was not allowed to examine her womb.
Image control and ambition. According to Whispers, he noticed the gaps, the missing pieces, and the chapter Meghan worked hardest to erase. Imagine carrying that knowledge while watching your ex marry into the British royal family, rebrand herself as a truth-teller, and present herself as a victim of palace cruelty.
With a royal child, you would want that child in the best care of the best medical practitioners that money could buy. And so for a royal
all while knowing a secret that could flip the entire narrative overnight. Trevor's silence is often called dignified, but others see it as strategic self-preservation, because if he ever decides to speak openly, Meghan's carefully crafted image could shatter instantly, and the Duchess knows it, which is exactly why Trevor Engelson remains the ghost in the room, the man who knows too much.
An honor, you'd feel safe, and absolutely, yes, you'd be flaunting that stomach everywhere. Like, here, look, put your hands on it, touch it. Just look, the baby moved. Look, oh my God, I need an ultrasound. Oh my God.
One of the strangest cracks in Meghan Markle's carefully managed story isn't about romance or royalty. It's about time itself. Officially, the Duchess was born in 1981. That date is printed in biographies, repeated in interviews, and accepted as fact by the public without question. But once people started digging, inconsistencies began popping up everywhere.
The case is, the fact that it was a mystery and hidden was kind of a red flag to me. I thought, why?
Old alumni listings, school event programs, and quiet whispers from former classmates tell a different story. Some records suggest 1977, others even point as far back as 1975. If those hints are accurate, Meghan could be 4 to 6 years older than she claims. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. If Meghan really is older, then the long-rumoured Vegas marriage and alleged hidden child suddenly line up with frightening precision.
Why? Something's wrong here.
Brittany, it seems to me that the only person who can really clear this up outside of Meghan herself is Trevor Engelson, who, until this point...
Think about it. A marriage at 18 or 19. A child born in the mid-1990s. By the time Meghan arrived at Northwestern, she wouldn't have been a wide-eyed teen starting fresh. She would have been a woman rebuilding her life after something deeply personal.
Brutal, dignified silence, despite the fact that Meghan treated him so appallingly, even sending back their engagement.
The age question doesn't just poke holes in her biography, it stitches the entire timeline together like a surgeon's final stitch. And let's not act like records haven't been altered before. Remember Archie's birth certificate? First, it listed Rachel Meghan Markle. Then suddenly, poof, it was updated to read Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex.
Is that going to change? Do you think there'll ever be a moment when Trevor is prompted to speak out?
Palace officials brushed it off as a routine clerical change, but insiders said they'd never seen anything like it. If records could shift under royal-level scrutiny, critics ask how easy would it have been to smooth out teenage paperwork decades earlier. That's why the age debate won't die. Because in Meghan's story, even time itself appears edited.
I think he has put Meghan behind him. I think he probably is not interested in people bringing up this past relationship as he's clearly moved on. I believe he has 3 children now with his new wife. But when it
now comes the claim that turns whispers into an earthquake. If Meghan truly had a daughter in the 1990s, that child would now be nearing 30 years old. And according to those following the trail, That daughter, often referred to as Noel, may already have a child of her own. That would make Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, a secret grandmother in her mid-40s.
Speculate on what she allegedly told people or what Trevor allegedly told people, but I think at the time, because Meghan had just gotten this.
Imagine palace PR teams choking on their tea at that headline. Meghan has spent years branding herself as the relatable, modern mom. We've seen her cradling Archie, gushing about Lilibet, and selling motherhood as part of her lifestyle identity. But how do you market young royal mom while allegedly hiding an adult child and a grandchild?
And she finally had her big break. I don't think motherhood was probably something really on her mind at the time. And when it comes to royal...
This isn't just personal, it's professional. Meghan's entire public image relies on being seen as hands-on, fresh, and relatable. If a hidden bloodline ever surfaces, that brand doesn't bend. It collapses. She's no longer the doting young mum. She becomes the woman who erased a child to rewrite her future.
In the line of succession, I don't really like the surrogacy conspiracies and those sorts of things. I think there's just sort of an explanation of Meghan just likes to play games with the media, wants to come out on top. And
for supporters, the idea of Meghan as a grandmother feels unthinkable. But for critics, it's the missing puzzle piece. Because if Noel ever steps forward, especially with a child of her own, Meghan's carefully curated identity wouldn't just crack, it would shatter beyond repair.
Who end up suffering the most, I think, are her own children in that effort. So I think in that respect, that hasn't played well for her overall, but I think Trevor will keep his silence. I think
no amount of spin, Oprah interviews, documentaries, or lifestyle launches could glue it back together.
Prompted by something where he really feels like at this point he needs to say something, but I think he's put this relationship.
Meghan has always had a strained relationship with her family. Her half-sister Samantha took her to court. Her half-brother Thomas Jr. has criticised her publicly. Her father Thomas Markle Sr. has been framed for years as a tabloid liability.
That Meghan's relationship with him in his rearview mirror and just doesn't really care.
Meghan distanced herself, painting them as toxic and irrelevant. But what if there's another reason? What if the real motive behind the estrangement isn't drama, but fear? Fear that someone connected to her past could expose what she's worked hardest to bury.
Devastated at the time with the way that he was treated, but actually he dodged a bullet. He has his dignity. He has a lovely family. He has a wife who seems to love him for who he is, and he's still working in the industry. And I think, oh my goodness,
Chicago neighbors have whispered about seeing a young girl at Giuliano family gatherings, never introduced as a niece or cousin, just present, part of the household, but never explained. Critics ask the question quietly but persistently. Was this Noel, the child Meghan allegedly left behind? If true, Meghan's determination to keep people at arm's length suddenly makes chilling sense. She wasn't just dodging bad press. She was protecting a secret. Because once the Giulianos or Trevor Engelson decide to talk, the entire royal image collapses. Family drama is messy, but family drama tied to a hidden child is dynamite, and Meghan knows it. That's why she's worked relentlessly to discredit, distance, and silence anyone who might know too much.
All times, which of course have ensured that nobody could touch her stomach or feel what...
At the end of the day, secrets don't stay buried forever. Files leak. Relatives talk. Gaps in timelines become impossible to ignore. And if Meghan Markle's alleged hidden daughter ever steps into the spotlight, the impact wouldn't be subtle, it would be nuclear. Think about it. The Duchess, who spent years branding herself as the face of authenticity, would be exposed as someone who edited her entire past. The global influencer who preached truth would be revealed as the architect of her own illusion. Here's the reality about secrets. They don't disappear. They sit in sealed court files, whispered family remarks, and unexplained timelines, waiting patiently for the right moment to explode. And when this one finally does, Meghan Markle won't just be a duchess under fire. She'll be remembered as the woman whose greatest performance wasn't on screen or at the palace, but in hiding her own bloodline. So while Meghan plays Duchess and chases the spotlight, Trevor Engelson just reminded the world that no crown, no palace, and no Hollywood contract can bury the truth. If this story made you pause, question things, or rethink the narrative, hit that like button to support the channel. Subscribe if you want more deep dives like this, because stories like these don't end quietly. Share this with someone who follows royal drama and loves connecting the dots. And most importantly, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the timeline makes sense? Or is this all smoke and mirrors? More pieces coming, and this story is far from over.